And done. Ah, I'm finally done with the first part of my doctor guide. Holy hell. Alright, let's take a break, shall we? Oh, a developer update. Huh. Let's go ahead and check it out. Okay, so Doctor is getting a buff. Second time this year. Not complaining. I wanted to go ahead and discuss in this video pretty much what this buff is going to be doing and what exactly it is, other than, costing me a week's worth of my Doctor guide, but that's beside the point, right? So, they're pretty much changing how his Static Blast works. Right now, Base Kit Doctor has a 60-second cooldown on his Static Blast, whether or not he hits survivors in his terror radius or not. And this is adjusted by, of course, add-ons. The order set of add-ons reduce 2, 4, or 6 seconds, respectively, from his Static Blast. Pretty much what they're doing in this change is that they are making it so if you hit a survivor with your Static Blast, your cooldown is only 45 seconds, so pretty much cutting 15 seconds off from the current Static Blast. But, on top of that, they're making it so if you miss survivors with your Static Blast, whether they're hiding in lockers or you go to a bad side of the map, anything like that, then your cooldown is 30 seconds. That, I'll be honest, is pretty freaking big. So on top of the cooldown that is being adjusted to Static Blast, they're also buffing his movement speed. Doctor's movement speed while charging Static Blast was horrifically slow. It was 1.16 meters per second. That is miserably slow. So what they're doing is they're making it just a smidge slower than charging shock therapy. So they're making it 2.99 meters per second. Why are they making it 2.99 and not just 3 meters per second? Don't ask me. No idea. Point is, you're going to be able to actually have mobility while charging Static Blast, unlike before. In that regard, you can actually start using Monitor and Abuse a lot more consistently, because one of the issues that Monitor and Abuse had originally was that you had to be in chase in order to expand your terror radius and be able to get the most value out of it. But now, using a Static Blast in chase isn't as horrible. I mean, it's still a pretty terrible idea, and you never want to be doing it in the first place, but I mean, hey, it's something you can do now. So, there's that. When it comes to using his blast, it's your primary way of giving out madness, because having to go after survivors and shock them all the time with shock therapy, it can get tiring. The only time you should be doing that is when you're in chase with the survivor, right? With this buff, this is making it a whole hell of a lot more lenient of just mashing your blast. So every single time you get your blast back, there's almost no reason not to use it because you get your blast back super quickly now. But the biggest reason is because of Doctor's slowdown. Because getting to Madness Tier 3, survivors have to take 8 seconds to snap out of it. This means that Doctor's Static Blast will get survivors into Tier 3 Madness a lot more now. And that means his base kit slowdown is getting a massive buff. Now that we kind of described what exactly Static Blast is doing and how his cooldowns are now working, according to the information we have now, let's talk about the add-ons. So, according to Behavior, it just says that they're adjusted the Static Blast cooldown add-ons accordingly. So, this could mean one of two things in my mind. This means either one, they're changing its effect, so it's no longer going to reduce the time of Static Blast now, but instead it has another effect. For instance, it could possibly extend the amount of time it takes to snap out of it. There are actually old add-ons that used to do that. Or, as I said, it's just adjusted the Static Blast cooldown, so now they just take away less seconds, for instance. So instead of taking 6 seconds, they want to take away 4 seconds in that regard. There's another add-on I do want to talk about, and that's actually Calm. With this update, this is actually, in my opinion, a little bit of a nerf. Why is it a nerf? Well, because of the 24 mutatarities. A lot of times, the reason you ran Calm was so you can sneak up on survivors a lot more consistently, but that's not going to be the case anymore. You only have your 24 meter terror radius for at most 45 seconds now. This means on smaller maps, you're better off just probably mashing your Static Blast as soon as you get it back anyway, instead of just trying to sneak up on survivors with your smaller terror radius, since it's not going to last as long. But Calm is still going to be really good. One of the biggest reasons you want to use Calm is so you affect survivors from farther away, and so you can still pair it with Deadman's Switch, you can still pair it with all these really good slowdown perks, on top of Doctor's base kit slowdown. So do I disagree or agree with the Doctor changes? For the most part, they're pretty good. I mean, you can't ever be angry at being able to just use your blast more often. It's not going to really change Doctor all that much in the long run. You're still going to be wanting to be in chase most of the time anyway, because the reason you use Doctor is because of his chase power. His chase power is what makes him super unique as a killer. So the fact that this isn't really changing his chase power isn't what is really affecting him. So when it comes to where he goes on the tier list, he's not really going to go up any higher, but it is still a pretty significant change, all things considered. Because being able to blast more often will make it so that Doctor's slowdown will come into effect a lot more often, which will definitely help in longer games that do end up dragging out. It also will probably make Doctor a whole hell of a lot more annoying to fight because you're constantly going to be snapping out of it after this change. So overall, I think this is just going to benefit more of the beginner or intermediate Doctors more than it will probably benefit the advanced Doctors. Why? Because the advanced Doctors don't really match their static blast. They wait for specific times, they make sure they're going to get the most value out of their static blast before they actually start using it, compared to, beginners Doctors in which, they spawn immediately in the game and then go. In that regard, it's not really going to affect Doctor too much, but it's still a very significant change, and I do think Doctor is probably going to become a lot more consistent, at least with this particular power. And with that said, just wanted to make a very short video talking about what this update is going to do and what my thoughts are about it. And when it comes to my Doctor guide, yeah, it's probably going to be delayed a little bit longer because honestly, I'm not able to see what this is directly until I see it in the PTB. And of course, once it goes live, I can adjust the Doctor guide from there. But unfortunately, the Doctor guide will probably be a little bit delayed, but beside the point. But with that said, I do thank you for watching, and if you do want to keep caught up on all my stuff, I do have a Twitch and a Discord, so be sure to check those out in the description below. And with that, I wish you all a good day.